Hola, hola. I want to send a quick video talking about um, Quizlet, reviewing for our FLACS exam, because at the time of recording this, we are just over 40 days away from our FLACS exam, and the best way to study and prepare and do well on the FLACS exam is just to have a wealth of vocabulary, to build up vocab. And as you'll see soon, this is not something that you can just study real quick over 1 or 2 nights, but really by building long term, that's going to have the best effect. So I want to talk a little bit about how students can access Quizlet, which is an excellent study tool for this. And yeah, so I'm here on Canvas. This is just my Canvas dashboard, and I have my Spanish classes here. So I'm going to go into my Spanish class. And on the left side, this is any Quizlet class any Spanish class of mine, Spanish class that I teach. On this left side, this is where students usually navigate the course. So home, announcements, modules, sometimes there's quizzes, assignments, there's all sorts of things. And you can see I've turned those off just so that it doesn't overwhelm students. I don't know why Delta Math is on. But over here, there are three really good resources that I have added. Quizlet is the one we're going to talk about today, but also Word Reference is a great dictionary, and Lingui is another great dictionary type thing. It pulls from real sources on the internet. So if you were to look up a certain phrase or expression on Lingui, it looks up other websites that have been translated and it sees how it has been said there. So it's really cool. Not the purpose of the story. Here's Quizlet. I'm also going to talk about this most recent announcement, which can also be accessed through the announcements tab or on the top of our homepage. It's called Cumulative Quizlet Sets. And so I posted this announcement May 4th, just with a quick recap of all different cumulative vocab sets. And I'll just show you real quick. This one is everything we have learned from day one in 7th grade to today. Okay, and this is over 1,200 words up through the last thing we learned was house and chores. The next chapter that students are going to learn is clothes and shopping, and that's going to include another 150 or so words, which students can begin to learn on their own if they'd like, or come back to this later. But if students really want to get ahead and really feel comfortable, by the end of the year, we'll have up to 1,500 words, which is every single word, every single phrase from our chapter, from our unit of study, which they can access. Okay, and then we also have our class Quizlet page, which I'll show you real quick. So I'm going to click on Quizlet on this left menu bar, and it's going to bring me, it just says you have to open in a new tab, which I'm going to do. And I'm still here, which is good. And the way I've organized it is from the most down to more specific. So here is mastery level Spanish, all vocab FLACS review. So you can see this is 1,500 terms, and this includes chapter 9, chapter 8, which is something we have not yet learned. And then it goes on to this one, which is just through clothes and shopping, which is 6B. Okay, and so chapter 6 is the next one we're going to study. This year the numbers are out of order just because we have new curriculum, new standards. Numbers this year kind of don't mean anything, but they're all there. They already learned 7 down away. And then this one is mastery level Spanish through chores. So this again is a 1219, which students already know. So all of these are accessible, and if they want these specific things, like hey, I want to get ahead on 6A, which is our next chapter, I'm going to click on that, and here I have the 56 words that I can do, and we can see them here. Yeah. And so let me just show you real quick how I suggest students study with this. So I'm going to go into this FLACS one, this all vocab thing. It has 1,500 words. And you can see here, it starts with bienvenidos, which is welcome. Literally the first word that I teach as 7th grade. So it's how to say hello, how do you say goodbye, how do you introduce yourself, all of that. And if I scroll down, it's going to go all the way through to school. It's going to go to food and hobbies. And this is still all 7th grade. And then here we start getting into These are holidays, which we learned this year. These are things from the restaurant. These are house things, which we just learned, right? And you can go all the way down, and it goes to the last thing, which talks about the advantages and disadvantages of using social media. Which, for example, you could say it's complicated. You get distracted. You could research. You can, right? So there's all sorts of length there. Um, and the best way is to use in my opinion, is to use this tool called Learn. And you can see it has this Q plus, Quizlet plus. I pay for Quizlet plus so that you and your students don't have to, at least for this class. And that means that as long as they are logged in through their HHH account, they do not have to pay. They should not pay. Quizlet will try to get them to pay sometimes, but just as long as they're logged in, they have access to all of this. So it's totally fine. So let me just show you my suggestion. Again, it's to click on this Learn tab. And just as a heads up, students tend to just start clicking here. Bienvenidos, welcome. Okay, I knew that. Los saludos, greetings. Okay, I knew that. And if they're not really quizzing themselves, and it's a little boring because then you go through all the ways to say hello, and then all the ways to say goodbye, and then how do you say how are you? And it's a little it doesn't necessarily keep students on their toes. It's a little bit more passive. This, though, allows you to personalize your study plan. So what's your goal? Quickly study or memorize it all? Obviously, our goal is to memorize it all, to build long-term memory. If you're watching this like a day or two before the FLACS exam, maybe just hit quickly study. But memorize it all, obviously, is what we're going for, so I'm going to hit that and continue. And is it all new to you? Do you know some of it? Do you know most of it? So students should select that they know some of it, especially for this one. If they feel really comfortable, they can say, I know most of it. If they really want to try one of the new sets all on their own, they can do what's all new to me. I would recommend I know some or most of it because students should, based on their comfort level. So let me say I know some of it. I'm not very confident, and I'd like a bit more practice. So I'm going to hit continue, and it starts with welcome. And like I said before, welcome is bienvenidos. Like I said before, it's just going to go through all these same things: greetings, saludos, good morning, buenos dias, good afternoon, buenas tardes, and you're gonna go in order. I don't think that's very helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to options. On the top right, I'm going to click options. And here, students have a wealth of options to make it how they'd like. Okay, so again, I'm going to share my suggested settings, and feel free to do with this as you wish. Turn on shuffle terms, especially with over 1,500 words. It doesn't make sense to start with hello. You could include hello in the way to say good morning and how are you feeling, but that's not going to be the most effective way because realistically most students will not get through all 1,500 words, so we want to just shuffle and get them feeling well. This is actually a new setting, so it's a new configuration. So I'm going to choose my own question types. I would recommend turning on all. Students tend to turn off the written section because they don't like to spell them out or they forget the accents. But I always remind students that spelling and accents do count on the FLACS exam, and I'll show you a way to kind of um, if your student's a bit insecure about spelling or they need a little extra spelling support, I'll show you a way to kind of get around that too. I suggest having all three on. If a student's really, really comfortable, they could turn flashcards off and like it already is. Hey, question format. I would answer with both Spanish and English because think when you're reading or listening, you need to understand from Spanish to English. When you're writing or speaking, you need to understand from English to Spanish. So having both directions is important. And then grading options, I would turn on typo help. Smart grading doesn't really work because it's for responses that are like 3 or more, but typo help will ignore typos and minor spelling differences between your answer and the correct answer. So I definitely recommend that. They can turn audio on if they'd like, but that is my suggestion. And so when I close out of these settings, it's going to reset. So here's the cafe. And now you can actually see that Quizlet gives me kind of some tricky options. All of these start with C, the cafe. Obviously, this one's a little bit easier. I can also use the 1, 2, 3, 4 on my keyboard to hit 3, el café. The dress, this is one that the students haven't learned. This is el vestido. Okay, let's say I get this one wrong. Tonight, I don't know this one. I'm going to say it's enero, which is January. Oof, I got this wrong. Okay, it says no sweat. I can press any key to continue, and I just hit continue. And this question will come up later. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. How do I say it is 10 o'clock? Son las 10. In March, I'm going to just speed run this. You can see this bar up top keeps going. It separates it into 7 questions, essentially. You got to get 7 right for each section, which really um, allows students to do it in accessible bits, really, which is nice. And see, now this has come up again. Let's try again tonight. What was that one? And actually, if you remember before, they had all E's starting, and now it's like, oh no, it's esta noche. Good. So you can see that was 11, actually 11 out of 1,500 terms, but I'm crushing it, and it goes over. Now I'm going to continue. I'm going to just do this real quick again because I don't, this is fine. But I want you to see some of the different. Here we go. So the cafe has already come up, right? I could hit show hint if I'm really stuck, and I have the accents right here. So if I hit show hint, it's going to say it starts with e, which is helpful because it's going to tell me it's masculine. El café. Okay, and I'll answer that. That was correct. The dress. Oof. I forgot what this is. Let's say I put el verano, which is the summer, instead of the dress. What's going to happen is, oof, they're going to give me the correct answer. Perfect. But there's also this option to say override, I was correct. And let me show you a good time when that would be useful. If I use tonight and I say, esta. Oh, yeah, actually, that was an actual typo I just did. I accidentally typed this J in here. It was just a typo. I was typing too quick. I'm going to hit answer. And it says close enough. You got it. So that J was there, but it was like, you know what? That's okay. That's where that typo help comes in. If it marked it wrong or if I forgot an accent, that's where I could say override, I was correct. That's a correct option, and Quizlet will start to learn. And let's just finish this set out. It's 10 o'clock. Oof, son las 10. Good. And even I sometimes I'm like, how exactly did I say it? Because Quizlet's gonna kind of try and match it almost perfectly. And again, now we're at 14. And so it keeps going up by 7. Okay, so I can hit continue. I can just close out. Whatever works, that's that. Okay, so I really, really suggest using Quizlet. It is boring, I know, right? I doubt most kids want to go in and do word after word or sets. But if, as you see, you can just do, okay, let's do 7 new words, or let's do 5 minutes on this. And there's also game type things like match, or students can take a test. And so if I do match, all students have to do, I'm going to hit start game. They have to drag corresponding items onto each other to make them disappear. Okay, especially with a touchscreen Chromebooks, this is a lot of fun for students. They get really competitive. So I'm going to match these. This is always really hard when I'm also talking. Because, porque, el enfermero, the nurse, between, entre. Okay, and it says your score of 12.4 seconds puts you in first place. So you can see first place, Senor Lesnick. And students will see other people's names, other students in our class, which gets them really competitive. They will come in and they'll say, "Oh, I beat this person's score, Mr. Lesnick. I beat your score yesterday." And they're so proud. They're proud to get it down to 10 seconds and into the single digits. And then 8 seconds, 7 seconds. They get really competitive. So obviously this is a newer set, so nobody has played this. But there's that. And let me go back and show you. And then it keeps going. It shows me my best time and the time I'm currently taking. Let me just show you a test real quick, because a test you can also set up with you can set your settings. So questions, obviously the max is 1,500. Students should not do 1,500. I've had students try to do 100. Whatever, 20 is usually good. You could do both. I recommend doing both. And there's all sorts of settings. Again, I recommend keeping written questions on, and they can keep everything else, because students do need to know how to spell words and where the accents are. So I'm going to hit start test, and it's going to give me 20 questions. Okay, true, false. Is this Spanish phrase the same as this English one? That one's true. right? True, true, true. I'm just gonna again do this quick. I should have changed it to like 10 questions. I'm sorry. Nice, we're doing well. El viernes, now we're into multiple choice. Or no, yeah, we're on to multiple choice. So el viernes is gonna be Friday. Apple, la manzana. Pero means but, to prepare, preparar. Mis mascotas are my pets. And here we're matching. So we have horrible, actually the same spelling. En abril, in April, y a ti, and you. Mi primo is my cousin. Soy un chico. I'm a guy. Hello is hola. Last is pasado. The fingers, los dedos. Más. The más is more, but let's put a lot. And that's when students get confused. And llueve, it rains. Or again, this is when people get confused. Let's do it's raining. Which is really very similar, but you'll see how Quizlet marks it. So just like I said, we're gonna get 2 wrong. We got true, 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 true. Let's go to the wrong ones. So last, this is actually one I didn't think I'd get wrong, but you can see how Quizlet marks it. So, I forgot el instead of pasado. You're right. Or sometimes students won't put the exact number of dashes. Again, realistically, if this is a student's answer where they put pasado and the answer is el pasado, they're doing okay. They got that one right. Let's take a look at 19. Mas is a lot. This is also, again, I was thinking the wrong thing. In this case, it is in this context, it talks about math. It can also mean plus. So it really should be more or plus. So that counts. And I thought I'd get that wrong, but it is right. That is the correct answer. Okay. So all of this is here, right? Students can check their progress, they can review, they can do a new test. All of these options are here. So I really, really, really recommend that students, if they have not already started, keep reviewing on Quizlet or start reviewing. And you can see, you can see here, there are 15 students or 15 studiers from West Hollow Middle School. What's really cool is because I pay for Quizlet Plus, I can see students' progress. So I can view the class progress. Every student through my class has signed up through my class, so I can see what they've studied the last time they studied on Quizlet, which is really awesome. So if you have any questions, please, please, please let me know. I hope this is helpful for you, for your students. Quizlet also has an app, so on their phone, on an iPad, on your phone, whatever, they can download the Quizlet app. I sent an email about it. It's in the last email I sent, and students can download the app and just study a few minutes every time they have something free. If they're on the bus, if they're waiting for a game to start, if they're waiting for a sibling or waiting for you to pick them up, whatever it may be, there's always time for students to study. And I don't want it to be that students are hunkering down and studying nonstop for hours and hours and hours. But the best way for students to study and to do well is to do it long term, even if it's just a few minutes a day. Okay. Have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, please let me know. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Adiós.